The inspector's interpretation of the National Electrical Code, specifically Section 314.28, regarding the spacing of raceways in a junction box, or J-box, where splices are present, appears to be incorrect. Section 314.28 addresses the requirements for the size and arrangement of pull boxes, junction boxes, and conduit butters. It is crucial to understand the specific wording and intent of this section to ensure proper and safe electrical installations. The key issue revolves around whether a splice creates a new conductor, thus altering the spacing requirements between raceways entering the J-box. When conductors are spliced within a J-box, the electrical code considers the sections of the conductor before and after the splice as distinct conductors. This distinction is vital because the rule requiring a minimum spacing of 6 times the trade size of the largest raceway typically applies when dealing with the same conductor passing through the J-box without being spliced. The National Electrical Code defines a conductor as a conducting element suitable for carrying an electric current. A splice is a point where 2 or more conductors are joined to create a continuous electrical path. Because the splice creates a new point of connection and essentially extends the conductor, the sections of the conductor on either side of the splice are considered separate conductors for the purposes of this particular code requirement. If the conductors entering the J-box via the 2 2-inch raceways are spliced within the box, these are not considered the same conductor. Therefore, the requirement to maintain a spacing of 6 times the trade size of the largest raceway, which would be 12 inches in this case, does not apply. The primary concern of Section 314.28 is to ensure there is sufficient space within the J-box for the conductors to be properly bent and routed without causing stress or damage to the insulation. It also aims to prevent overcrowding, which can lead to overheating and other safety hazards. The code specifies different requirements based on whether the conductors are pulled straight through the box, deflected at an angle, or spliced within the box. For straight pulls, the minimum length of the box must be at least 8 times the trade diameter of the largest raceway. For angle or U-pulls, the distance is determined by the number of raceways entering and exiting the box, as well as the distance to the opposite wall of the box. When splices are present, the J-box must be sized adequately to accommodate the splices and provide sufficient space for safe and easy maintenance. In your situation, you mentioned that the J-box meets the code requirements for the wire size and the splices. This implies that the box is large enough to accommodate the number and size of conductors, the splices themselves, and the required bending radius of the conductors. If this is the case, and the conductors are properly spliced and insulated, the inspector's insistence on the 6 times rule is a misinterpretation of the code. Conductors of different systems, circuits, or voltages must not occupy the same equipment space unless separated by a partition or barrier. This rule is designed to prevent dangerous interactions between different electrical systems. However, in this case, the issue is not about different systems but about the interpretation of what constitutes the same conductor. It is crucial to document and clarify the situation with the inspector. Firstly, you should provide the inspector with the relevant sections of the NEC that define a conductor and address the requirements for J-box sizing with splices. Secondly, you can explain that the splices create new conductors, thus negating the need for the 6 times spacing rule. Thirdly, you should present any calculations or documentation that demonstrate that the J-box meets all other applicable code requirements for wire size, fill capacity, and conductor bending radius. If the inspector remains unconvinced, you may need to escalate the issue to higher authority within the inspection department or consult with a qualified electrical engineer who can provide an expert opinion on the matter. It is also helpful to review any local amendments or interpretations of the NEC that may be in effect in Westchester County, New York. Local jurisdictions sometimes adopt their own specific requirements that go beyond the national code. Understanding these local rules is essential for ensuring compliance. To further clarify the concept, let's consider a few additional points. The 6 times rule is primarily intended to prevent damage to conductors that are being pulled through a J-box without being cut or spliced. When a conductor is pulled straight through, it is subjected to tension and friction as it passes around the collars of the box. The required spacing helps to minimize the bending stress on the conductor and prevents it from being damaged or having its insulation compromised. However, when a conductor is spliced, it is no longer subjected to the same pulling forces. The splice effectively creates a break in the conductor, and the sections on either side of the splice are independently connected. Therefore, the concern about bending stress and insulation damage is significantly reduced. Furthermore, the NEC recognizes that splices themselves require space and proper management within the J-box. The code specifies requirements for the type of connectors used for splicing, the insulation of the splices, and the arrangement of the conductors within the box. These requirements are intended to ensure that the splices are mechanically and electrically sound and that they do not create a safety hazard. In summary, the inspector's interpretation of Section 314.28 appears to be incorrect in this situation. The presence of splices within the J-box alters the requirements for raceway spacing. As long as the J-box meets all other applicable code requirements for wire size, fill capacity, conductor bending radius, and splice integrity, the inspector should approve the installation. It is essential to communicate effectively with the inspector, provide supporting documentation, and, if necessary, escalate the issue to a higher authority to ensure a fair and accurate interpretation of the electrical code. Let's delve deeper into the specific aspects of Section 314.28 of the National Electrical Code to provide a more comprehensive understanding of the requirements for pull and junction boxes. This section addresses the sizing and construction of boxes, conduit bodies, and handheld enclosures, which are critical components in electrical systems for housing conductors, making splices, and providing access for maintenance and future modifications. Subsection 314.28 covers the minimum dimensions of pull and junction boxes for raceway and cable pulls. The requirements vary depending on whether the conductors are pulled straight through the box, deflected at an angle, or spliced within the box. For straight pulls, as previously mentioned, the minimum length of the box must be at least 8 times the trade diameter of the largest raceway entering or leaving the box. This requirement ensures that the conductors have sufficient space to be pulled through the box without excessive bending or stress. For angle or U-pulls, the dimensions of the box are calculated differently. The distance from the raceway entry point to the opposite wall of the box must be at least 6 times the trade diameter of the largest raceway, plus the sum of the diameters of all other raceways entering or leaving the box on the same wall. This formula takes into account the number and size of the raceways and ensures that there is adequate space for the conductors to be bent and routed without damage. When conductors are spliced within the box, the requirements become more complex. The box must be sized to accommodate the splices themselves, as well as the required bending radius of the conductors. The NEC does not provide a specific formula for calculating the minimum size of the box in this case, but it does state that the box must be large enough to provide free space for all conductors enclosed in the box. This means that the box must be sized based on the number and size of conductors, the type and size of splices, and the required bending radius of the conductors. In addition to the size requirements, Section 314.28 also addresses the construction of pull and junction boxes. The boxes must be made of durable materials that are suitable for the environment in which they are installed. They must also be properly grounded to ensure electrical safety. The covers of the boxes must be securely fastened to prevent accidental contact with energized conductors. Furthermore, the NEC specifies requirements for the support and installation of pull and junction boxes. The boxes must be securely supported to prevent them from being dislodged or damaged. They must also be installed in a manner that provides easy access for maintenance and future modification. It is important to note that the requirements in Section 314.28 are minimum requirements. In some cases, it may be necessary to use larger boxes to provide additional space for conductors or to accommodate future expansion. The electrical designer or installer should carefully consider all of the factors involved in sizing and installing pull and junction boxes to ensure a safe and reliable electrical system. Let's consider some practical examples to illustrate the application of Section 314.28. Example 1. A straight pull. Suppose you have 3 2-inch conduits entering and leaving a junction box in a straight line. According to section 314.28a, the minimum length of the box must be 8 times the trade diameter of the largest raceway, which is 2 inches in this case. Therefore, the minimum length of the box would be 8 times 2 inches, which equals 16 inches. Example 2. An angle pull. Suppose you have 2 2-inch conduits entering a junction box on one wall and 1 2-inch conduit leaving the box on an adjacent wall. According to section 314.28a, the distance from the raceway entry point to the opposite wall of the box must be at least 6 times the trade diameter of the largest raceway, plus the sum of the diameters of all other raceways entering or leaving the box on the same wall. In this case, the largest raceway is 2 inches, and the sum of the diameters of all other raceways in the same wall is also 2 inches. Therefore, the minimum distance would be 6 times 2 inches plus 2 inches, which equals 14 inches. Example 3. Splices within the box. Suppose you have 2 2-inch conduits entering a junction box and the conductors are spliced within the box. The NEC does not provide a specific formula for calculating the minimum size of the box in this case. However, the box must be large enough to accommodate the splices themselves, as well as the required bending radius of the conductors. The size of the box would depend on the number and size of conductors, the type and size of splices, and the required bending radius of the conductors. In addition to these examples, it is important to consider the specific requirements for the type of conductors being used. For example, the NEC specifies different bending radii for different types of conductors. The bending radius must be large enough to prevent damage to the insulation of the conductors. It is also important to consider the ambient temperature in which the junction box is installed. The NEC specifies different ampacity ratings for conductors based on the ambient temperature. The size of the conductors must be selected to ensure that they can carry the required current without overheating. In conclusion, Section 314.28 of the National Electrical Code provides detailed requirements for the sizing and construction of pull and junction boxes. These requirements are intended to ensure a safe and reliable electrical system. Electrical designers and installers should carefully consider all of the factors involved in sizing and installing pull and junction boxes to ensure compliance with the NEC. Finally, let's address the specific issue of conductors of different systems, circuits, or voltages occupying the same equipment space. As you mentioned, Section 314.28 states that conductors of different systems, circuits, or voltages must not occupy the same equipment space unless separated by a partition or barrier. This requirement is intended to prevent dangerous interactions between different electrical systems. For example, if a 480-volt circuit and a 120-volt circuit were to occupy the same equipment space without a partition or barrier, there could be a risk of a short circuit or other electrical hazard. The partition or barrier must be made of a non-conductive material and must be securely fastened in place. It must also be large enough to completely separate the different circuits or systems. In some cases, it may be necessary to use separate junction boxes for different systems or circuits to ensure compliance with this requirement. It is important to note that this requirement applies to all types of equipment spaces, including pull boxes, junction boxes, and conduit bodies. It is not limited to specific types of electrical systems or circuits. Electrical designers and installers should carefully consider this requirement when designing and installing electrical systems to ensure electrical safety. In summary, the interpretation of the electrical inspector regarding the spacing of raceways in the J-box appears to be a misinterpretation of the National Electrical Code. The presence of splices within the J-box negates the need for the 6-time spacing rule, provided that all other applicable code requirements are met. Effective communication, proper documentation, and, if necessary, escalation to a higher authority are crucial steps in resolving this issue and ensuring a compliant and safe electrical installation. Remember to always consult the latest edition of the NEC and any local amendments to ensure compliance with the most current regulations.